actually was by the work that the defense was doing. And they were a made, really chip shot field goal from Adam Vinatieri away from winning that game. Remember how unique and ridiculous that was? It is wild. And I thought there was some semblance of that. The difference was it was more weather-related in San Diego, if you remember then. And then the fact that Peyton Manning was picking somebody off of County Line Road right here and throwing to them during the game. It was definitely unique, but you want it to be unique. Why? Because you don't want any more of those. You don't want to become what people nationally especially suggest that you are. You don't want to solidify those words. And if you go to Berlin, this is going to be an odd week. Like you thought going to Berlin, you win this game yesterday, you go to Berlin, and you want to take care of it, then get to the bye week and get healthy, and then you're going to have KC at the toilet and then the remainder of the season to get really right. Now you prioritize, and not suggesting at all they didn't prioritize this game, but it's even more prioritized now. Because you saw an Atlanta team that week before last had Kirk Cousins at quarterback, and they're an absolute disaster losing at home. And then yesterday, even in losing in Foxborough, made it close, made it tight late. And there's probably a bit of a blueprint. Now, this is a blueprint for any quarterback, but especially Daniel Jones. It's almost like that the Steelers went yesterday and went back and looked around and said, hey, you know, for the better part of 6 years with the Giants, this is what has happened with Daniel Jones when things did not work well around him. Or as I mentioned again, when his operation wasn't working around him. And he gets flushed right down the toilet. And that's exactly how he played. So in the words of Quentin Nelson, you do need to learn from this, and it is meaningless if you don't. And as an end result, you don't want everybody pounding their chest saying, hey, we told you about this Colts team. They are soft. They're not that good. Daniel Jones still is who Daniel Jones was for the most part in 6 seasons with the Giants. Jonathan Taylor, laughable at MVP. MVP for Daniel Jones. That's funny. Coach of the year for state. You know, you don't want all this to be made more believable. You want this to be a blip on the radar, and then you go to Berlin, get a win, and then move on to the bye week. Oh, and by the way, Chris Ballard, I may burst. It may be gross. I may burst if there's no move made by tomorrow, and I have to hear one more time that we tried, but it takes 2 to tango. I'm going to burst. And in Greenwood, the authorities will have to come over and clean up my bursting because that won't be any good. Seriously, you know what you need. All right, it's not – there's a reason why these higher-level, consistently organizations are able to do things – when they're able to do things. It's not like, I mean, you're more savvy, you're smart, whatever. You recognize, now's the time for the Colts to recognize and go give your guys a little bit of help. Hey, help is on the way in that secondary. I mean, Charvarius Ward at some point is going to get back. I thought Jalen Jones had some moments yesterday. But don't let that at all cover up the fact that you still need to get better, and you need to get better at what Rick Venturi calls that first wave of the rush, not just when it's easier / convenient for you. Again, sometimes the box score and the stats can cover that up. All right, 239-1070 is that number. I want to hear from you. I've got all damn day long to hear from you. I want to see you, too, because the ice-cold beer, as you can see right here, it's flowing. We love Twin Peaks in Greenwood. This is our location. We're right off of County Line Road, County Line in Madison, right next to the Greenwood Park Mall. We love to be staked out here. In fact, I believe, Travis, right, we're here today and then back on a Bud Light Blue Friday. My goodness. I may have to just sleep over. Well, it didn't sound right. I take that back. I may have to come back on Friday again. I thought about that for a second. Yeah, better not say that. No, seriously. Back again on Friday. But this is a great time to join us here at Twin Peaks. Great food, ice-cold beer ready to flow, and we'll have some beers on a Monday. Monday Night Football, college basketball in gear, IU a double nickel in Maryland. We'll talk about that. Devin Mockabee, salute to the Boilermaker running back from Southern Indiana, whose career in West Lafayette is officially over. But I've always loved that dude. He's been great on the air with me. He's a drag racer. He's a mechanic. And he's a very loyal, high-level dude. Devin Mockabee, salute to you. Miles Turner's return, his words, and a lot more. I've got a lot to get to. 239-1070. Email address, JMV at 1075thefan.com. 317-239-1070. If you want to dial us up via the text line, you can do that as well. To stream the app, it's HD Radio, the ice-cold beers, the scratch food flowing, the Greenwood Twin Peaks on a Monday. Let's hear from you coming up on the other side. Stephen Holder as well. Don't go anywhere. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
JMV.
You just got your asses whipped by a bunch of damn nerds.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
That's a first down to the 48 near midfield. The Colts have the ball now with a fresh set of downs. Jones out of the gun. Backs the pass on first down. Takes a shot right side. This is caught again by Pierce. Makes a man miss. He's at the 30, the 25. He's at the 20. Inside the red zone. And he'll be finally upended and pushed out of bounds at the Pittsburgh 16-yard line. It's the Alec Pierce show on the first drive on offense for the Colts.
Oh, it's Matt Taylor and Charles Arbuckle almost said something right there. Colts Radio Network. That's where everything looked good. Everything started out so well, too. And that's, it's funny when they came out there and put 7 up on the board, and especially the way that they did it with that drive and continuing that drive and doing some different things, that is a way that you really put down an opponent that had been going through something. Losers of last 2, getting called out by those of their fan base. But, yeah, it wasn't normal yesterday. It wasn't the normal Colts offensive stuff that we have grown accustomed to seeing. And, man, Pittsburgh, it was almost like Pittsburgh could tell that they were going to be able to have an edge, oddly enough, around the edge, or oftentimes in the face of the quarterback, and they went after that. They were after that. They were taking Tyler Warren away. Jonathan Taylor couldn't run. Nothing worked. Everything up until yesterday had worked offensively. The Colts getting out to a 7-1 start. Nothing worked yesterday. They turned it over 6 times. If you remember, 07 was that game that I had talked about in San Diego. And Manning had 6 interceptions. And they still could have won. Just like yesterday was still a 1-score game, even with the fact they turned it over 6 times. On the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, he joins us from ESPN on ESPN.com. I'm assuming getting his passport ready to go to Germany, Berlin, with the Atlanta Falcons and the Colts coming up on Sunday morning here locally. Stephen Holder joins us right now. I mean, really, it was the anti-Colts, especially offensive performance that we had grown so accustomed to seeing so far this season yesterday, wasn't it?
It was. And my passport is sitting here on my desk because I'm afraid to forget it, so I have it sitting next to my computer just because that's the only way I won't forget it. So anyway, like 3 days early, But I agree. Yeah, that wasn't them. You talked about that. I think it was a Monday football game, right, where Peyton had that flurry of interceptions out there in San Diego. I remember that game, and that was definitely a one-off. And so the question here is this a one-off? It's not okay. It's not justifiable. It can't happen. But I am inclined to think that it is a one-off. And here's why. Because it was one of those Murphy's Law kind of games, right? This offensive line, I'm not saying they've gone up against the 85 Bears this year, but they have not been an issue. There was something yesterday where Pittsburgh got the edge. I mean, they're good up front to begin with, but Pittsburgh found some kind of edge yesterday, and they just didn't have their fastball, and that's what can happen. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, one of the things that people told me in the organization today is that there was some frustration that they didn't get any good bounces. It's just one of those games. Now, that's a little bit of glass half full, theory here, but there's some truth to it. I mean, you look at the deflected interception, it bounced right into the hands of the rushing linebacker, right? And things like that. And when you have what I think 3 fumbles like they had, and you don't get to recover any of them, I mean, that's another sort of bad bounce to some degree. So they really got no breaks. And the last thing I would say is that throughout the game, they were outgaining Pittsburgh the entire game. So they were moving the ball. They just kept throwing up all over themselves, giving it away. So I don't have any issues with the offense being able to move the ball. They still did it. Hold on to the damn ball. That's really what it boils down to.
All right, just so many mistakes. Stephen Holder of ESPN's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I mentioned you've got the Colts on the road in Berlin versus the Falcons coming up on Sunday. Did you notice anything different? Like a lot of people had said, hey, Steichen it didn't run it enough, or Steichen didn't do this enough. You could tell in these games so far this season there had been a plan to really get things done, pick apart a defense through the air and then pound a lot of Jonathan Taylor. Were there times yesterday when maybe you could have used more of Taylor and maybe popped one, but you didn't, and you continued to throw it, and then with that in mind, there was no protection, and then Daniel Jones, unfortunately, continued to throw it to the other team?
So I would say here's something I did notice. They have played with a lead in almost every game, and I think you coach a lot differently when you have the lead versus when you are in the kind of game they were in yesterday. So that's a different approach. I think yesterday was the kind of game they needed to make some adjustments, and I think they could have did a better job. I'm not talking about fireable stuff here, but I think there were some small things. For example, with Jonathan Taylor, I think he got every yard he could get yesterday. I don't put any of this on him. He had a couple runs where they were like 7-8 yards, and I was like, damn, that was a good run.
Yeah.
I think it was more a matter of the lanes weren't there. So what could you do? I think get a little bit more of those zone outside runs a little bit. He's bounced, he has popped a couple of those already this year, So I think you might have done better to at least try that, stretch them out a little bit, let them see if you can get to the corner. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you look at the 80-yarder was the one last week, right? The 80-yard touchdown was one where he beats the defense to the sideline. Now, granted, he wasn't touched for the most part before that, much different than yesterday. But all I'm saying is give him a chance to be the athlete that he is, and I think they missed some opportunities to do that. And maybe just should have stuck to the run a little more. The one thing that I think is a mitigating factor is that they had a few too many penalties. That puts you in that long down and distance, and then you got those guys coming off the edge. It's a really tough spot to be in. So that is a reminder, you got to play clean because you put your offense in a bad spot.
They had been so good up until that point on first down and short yardage third down situations, and Ian Eagle brought that up a couple of different times yesterday. And, yeah, for whatever reason, that was not it for them in this afternoon in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh did try to take a lot away. How much did they focus in on, did you feel, being there and taking away what Tyler Warren had accomplished so far this season at tight end?
Yeah, I mean, they certainly didn't allow him to get going. And I think whether that was, an intentional strategy or not, I need to look at the film a little closer. But that was definitely – it felt as if it was a focus of theirs. Now, what we walk away from this game with, though, is I think what we have seen all year long, which is you can take a couple guys away, but somebody's still going to get theirs. And you had two 100-yard receivers in that game, in Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce. So moving the ball was not an issue. I mean, they outgained Pittsburgh by well over 100 yards. I know some of it was in garbage time, but a lot of it was not. I mean, you look at halftime, you look at the third quarter, they were outgaining them at those points in the game as well. So they can move the ball. They really had no issue moving the ball when they didn't throw up all of themselves and give it away. The issue's hanging on to the ball. But I do think the good thing about the Colts offense is, at least if you do try to take away a guy or two, they have options, and that is not going to be an issue for them. And that's why they're hard to defend, frankly. I don't think the Steelers unlocked, some sort of secret to stopping the Colts. They didn't. They just rushed the passer really well and got the ball out of his hand. But they still were successful from a just throwing and catching perspective. They were still successful, the Colts. So I don't think they need this wholesale change anything. They got to toughen up, and they got to go out there and put it on the line and play like it matters.
He is Stephen Holder. He's off to Berlin later on this week as of the Colts. Their matchup against Atlanta is coming up on Sunday morning. By the way, Twin Peaks and Greenwood will be open for you to watch that game right here. The ladies will be here, and you'll be good to go for Sunday morning football in Berlin for the Falcons and the Colts. So we've got a trade deadline to discuss coming up tomorrow. We've seen a couple of moves so far. Are you expecting Chris Ballard and company to be involved in anything? Because I sure as hell hope they are.
They are trying and have been trying for, in fact, the better part of the past week, is my understanding. They have been trying. I think the focus is a little more on corner than defensive end, but both have been in play. Here's what's happened so far. They've tried, and they haven't had a lot of success. They've been told no. Now, I saw the Jalen Phillips deal today. He was a player that I would say was intriguing to me in relation to the Colts. Now, what I'm not sure about is how I feel about a third-round pick for him. I guess I'm not surprised because a lot of teams are, as I've heard, a lot of teams are looking for edge rushers. So I guess it's not surprising. Maybe there was a decent market, so you're going to get a higher price. But a third, is a lot. You do get him. I think he's under contract next year, so that helps. Hendrickson out in Cincinnati, the Bengals have been firm there. I am relatively sure the Colts have called, like, more than once, multiple times. And the answer has been consistent. They are not budging. I just don't think you can give up a king's ransom for this guy when it's going to be for 8 games. It's unconscionable to me. And I see the talk out there of a first-round pick. And so the Colts, the way they see it is, well, he's probably not going to get traded at this point. And that's what a lot of people think right now. So we'll see how that goes. But look, there are other guys out there. I tend to think the Colts will not make a move, but it won't be for a lack of trying. They have tried.
Yeah, I think right now you mentioned that their focus had been on corner. Do you think Jalen Jones coming back and I thought playing reasonably well yesterday has any impact on maybe a refocus on what they might find, as an edge rusher, more so than what you had mentioned the corner?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I thought that was a very encouraging development. I mean, to come off of IR and to have to go check DK Metcalf, I mean, that's not fair. But I thought he handled himself really well. Did you walk away from that game feeling like, man, DK Metcalf really handed it to him today? No, not at all. In fact, I don't feel that way about anybody they were throwing the ball to. I thought Aaron Rodgers just kind of had an okay day. I don't feel like that Colts defense really had a lot to hang its head about. I mean, they're in short fields all day long, and you're just continually having to clean up this mess, this diarrhea from the offense. Sorry to be so graphic, but I mean, like, it's awful, right? So, I mean, that's a tough situation to be in. And I thought, all things considered, I was more than fine with that defensive performance. So, to get 6 takeaways and to come away with 27 points, if you give the Colts 6 takeaways, what are they scoring? I think they're putting 50 on the board, So I think all things considered, I can live with that defensive performance.
All right. Listen, it was priority anyway, but I think it's even more magnified. Is it not, in Germany coming up on Sunday with the Falcons before the bye week?
Yeah, you want to kind of keep the momentum going. I know momentum is one of those things that we can't define necessarily, but I do think there is something to this team where they have played with such a confidence this year, and that confidence didn't come out of thin air. That confidence came from playing damn well every single week. So you got to get back to that, and it's a mojo thing. I don't know how you explain it, but I think it's a real thing. When you are rolling like they've been rolling, that does things for you, for your confidence, and it also, I think, gets the attention of your opponent. It makes you feel a little invincible to them. They're going to feel a lot more human to the Atlanta Falcons after yesterday's game. So they've got to get their mojo back. I think they will. I'm not, predicting one way or the other, but I mean, I think they're still the team that we have seen. Listen, ultimately, you saw 8 games of a team with generating historic offense. Historic. Okay? Every week we were like, this hasn't been done in 40 years. This hasn't been done in 35 years. I mean, not since the merger. I mean, we've never talked about the Colts offense that way. Almost never. So they did that for 8 weeks. We can't then turn around after one, sort of stinker and say, I'm going to ignore all of that. I mean, that's a pretty crazy approach to take, I think.
I would like to feel the same way as you just
But you
stated.
gotta
Stephen
prove it.
Holder, yeah, you do. You want to prove everybody wrong in that capacity too, Stephen, no doubt. Hey, safe travels to Berlin, and we'll catch up with you when you get back here, man. Thank you a lot for coming on. I know it's a busy week for you. Thank you.
All right, you got it.
Stephen Holder of ESPN and ESPN.com. I've got time for you on the other side, so let's log some calls at 239-1070. The text line at 317-239-1070. County Line Road, the coldest beer in town would be Twin Peaks. I know Haley's going to join me coming up in just a bit as well. On this Monday, I would love to see you here. Paul's here, so that means everybody needs to join us. Miles returned to the field house tonight. We'll get to that. IU's win over the weekend. A proud Boilermaker is done in the football program. And we got a lot more for you, including Game 7 of the World Series on Saturday. Don't go anywhere. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. It is 93.5, 107.5 The Fan.
To the near. Now they're playing coverage. Black is the running back. Fernando takes the snap. Now he runs right up the middle of the field. Nobody there, and he scores a touchdown. A 7-yard run for Fernando Mendoza, and the Hoosiers come up with the first score of the game.
IU 55 on the 55 and got the coach fired. Is that the first time IU's put up? They haven't had anybody else fired this year, have they? Any other coaches after they beat them like that? 55. Mike Loxley, I believe he was fired. At least I saw that yesterday. Maybe that was just like a rumored report. But, yeah, it was all IU. Penn State coming up this weekend. Don Fisher, by the way, the voice of the Hoosiers, and Buck Sore, a good friend who has never appeared on this show before because, quote, he doesn't want to, which is all good. On the IU Radio Network right there, IU with the big win on Saturday. That is a noon start for the Hoosiers coming up this weekend as well. So we got a lot going on here, too. I'll reset where we are today. So Maryland, 55 points on the board and a win at Penn State coming up this weekend. Wisconsin, Idle, and then the Boilermakers. That's how things close out. I mentioned, too, Devin Mockabee is done in the football program with the Boilermakers. I was always a big fan of his. He was on the show a couple of different times, and obviously we had the connection from Southern Indiana. He's much further south than I am, but I always thought he was a tremendous dude, and a salute to Devin Mockabee of the Boilermaker football program, who will call it a career. Meantime, another Southern Indiana native didn't have a great day yesterday, but still a fantastic season. The pride of Mitchell, Indiana, the Persimmon Festival in Lawrence County and Spring Mill State Park, Chase Briscoe. Yeah, did not get it done in Phoenix yesterday. Kyle Larson goes back-to-back, I believe, right, with the NASCAR title. Chase Briscoe did not win it, but a salute to Chase Briscoe as well. Winschuler Spreadability. Hey, the Spreadability, you can find it not too far from where I'm sitting right here. Gordon's Food Service, your Meyer locations. I mentioned you Carmelites can find it at Neiman's Harvest Market, too. The Spreadability of original bacon and cheddar, sharp cheddar, and jalapeno pepper. The spreadability of Winschuler's is spectacular. Find it for your elite level snack and do that today. All right, quick break. We'll come back. I want to get you guys on the air. I know we'll start with Mike in Brooklyn, his breakdown of the game yesterday, which I'm sure is going to be interesting. Plus, the return of a guy that you know well later on tonight. You know what I'm talking about? Twin Peaks and Greenwood's our location. That and more with you guys. And 317-239-1070 is the text line if you want to get your point across as well. The Stream the App, HD Radio. Sit tight. We're back with you on the phones next with 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
You couldn't possibly be any dumber. You go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Last week against Green Bay, they were just 1 for 10 on third down. This is 3rd and 7 on their own 29. With Rodgers out of the gun, 3 receivers to the right side. Now Gainwell comes in as the back left. Back in to throw is Rodgers. Scans and escapes. Tries to in the pocket, and he's pulled down by the Colts.
That's Matt Taylor. I think we had a woo from Charles Arbuckle in the radio booth in Pittsburgh yesterday. What was it, like AccuSure or AccuSure or AccuHeinz or something field in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers got off the proverbial mat and really with 6 turnovers put it to the Colts yesterday. The final 27-20. The Colts now 7-2 on the road to Berlin. Did you know 6:30 on Sunday morning is when I start? So the last time this happened was in Frankfurt, Germany. And I believe, I'm pretty stupid, so I believe what I did on the JMV takeover is basically roll until you guys stop calling. Because I've got to be up anyway. So we'll go, and I haven't really informed anybody of this yet, we'll go on Saturday night until, because I'm going to be in the building and I'm not going to go home. Just kind of a waste of time for me to go home and go, hey, I've been getting an hour and a half of sleep and then get back up and roll back in. So I'm going to stay there. And then I got to play a little hoop afterwards. So here's what happened. I love this. This is like if you were writing a book about me, you would say this is like a day in the life of me, where I go in, do 6 hours of all requests Saturday night. Actually, more than that, probably about 8 or 9 hours until about 3 in the morning. And then do whatever I do, probably go take a 3.5-hour shower, and then come back and do 6:30 until 8:30 and the Colts pregame huddle, and then go meet my guys at Southport High School to hoop a little bit, and then watch the game. Maybe they're going to be the doors open here at Twin Peaks, here down in Greenwood, right here. The ladies are going to be here, so we'll just go ahead and open the doors, and let's all be right here. After a little Southport hoop, that is my life right there. And you know what's funny about it? It's my life at 55. It had been my life at 45, my life at 35 and 25, and I'm proud as hell of it. I really am. I love that because it's a lot of fun and a lot of interaction, and it just maintains a level of enjoyment that I am looking for, like today at Twin Peaks. It wasn't yesterday in Pittsburgh for the Colts. They're now 7-2. Again, they get Atlanta coming up in Berlin on Sunday. But overall, we'll see if they can dismiss that as a blip and get back to winning against the Falcons coming up on Sunday. Stephen Holder a little bit earlier, the podcast at 1075thefan.com. I love that here. Can I read this, Casey Valier? I have a family friend. I hope I'm allowed to right here, James. This ought to be pretty funny if I'm not. A family friend who owns the Shack in Tipton, and ask if you're possibly doing a remote up there. Yes, I love doing remotes. The Shack in Tipton. Somebody tell me more about the Shack in Tipton one of these days. It'd be great. And Hetfield, or I should say, I almost said Hetfield because I was thinking about Metallica. Jason Hatfield, AC/DC at Notre Dame, September the 4th. And you know, AC/DC playing at Notre Dame and in South Bend, that's coming up in 2026 on September the 4th, is less surprising than AC/DC completely skipping Indy again. Like, how many times will AC/DC continue to crisscross the country and not stop here? Come on, Angus. Twin Peaks, Greenwood, I'd love to see you. Like Paul's just ready, willing, and able to have ice-cold beers, the best beers in town with you right here as well. 239-1070 is that number. Bucks and Pacers, the return of Miles Turner later on tonight. I'll have words about that coming up too. But Mike in Brooklyn is going to start the 4 o'clock hour. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Hey, JMV. What's up?
Mike, that was not good yesterday, was it, brothers?
Yeah, definitely not. I don't like to want to sound like a broken record, but
Yes.
To me, that there's a hell of a lot of blame to go around. Except I agree with Stephen Holder. Lou Anarumo and that defense really, did their job yesterday. Holding this team. The Steelers kept them in the game. It's just, for me, I thought that Steichen was totally outcoached. I don't get his approach. Well, as you was talking about with the adjustments, it's just like what I keep saying is, you're an offensive coordinator, a genius, or are you a head coach? And I always go to what Bill Parcells is like my favorite coach, as a head coach, and he always used to talk about, you got to see the way the game unfolds. You can have a philosophy of, we throw to score and run to win, and you could say, well, you didn't say nothing. Yeah, I did say something over 7 weeks. But when that game is unfolding, you can see that you're getting pressure. You're not going to be able to do the things that you normally have been doing. So you have to make adjustments. You can't just sit back there and throw the ball on deep routes when the Steelers' defensive ends are just crashing. I mean, you've seen that they were just crashing the line. Even when they tried to do those a couple of times, they tried to do their play actions. As soon as Daniel Jones turned around, they were on top of him. They pretty much said, we're going to play the run on the way to the quarterback. And I'm not an offensive genius, but I know from watching football for 50 years and listening to these guys, the way to combat a pass rush is you either screen over or you draw under. Didn't see any of that, not once. Didn't see any quick game. So basically, Steichen was, well, we do what we do. We throw to score and run to win. The problem with that is when you have a coach like Mike Tomlin, he knows it. You're making his job easy for you because you're making yourself one-dimensional. He doesn't even have to make you one-dimensional. You're making yourself one-dimensional. Okay? That was a game. If you're going to be a championship team, you have to learn how to play games and win games that are not what you're normally playing to your strengths. That was a game you could see they were out of sync coming out, even on the first drive. They had two offsides by Pierce and Pittman, illegal motion. You're in a hostile environment. Once they got up 7-0, I was praying. I was saying, let's just run the ball and try and play this game more closer to the vest. Instead, he just kept on tempting fate, dropping back, developing routes.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, what you're telling me here, you think that Steichen is almost like Serrano in Major League, where he can hit the fastball, but when you change it up a little bit, he's going to struggle with the curve. Is that what you're suggesting right here?
Well, I would use the analogy of this. Mike Martz was a phenomenal offensive mind, a great offensive coordinator. But he was a great offensive coordinator when Dick Vermeil was the head coach, because Dick Vermeil had the guardrails up to make sure that he didn't do stupid things that didn't make a lot of sense. When Mike Martz became the head coach, it was a different story. See, when Dick Vermeil was the head coach of the Rams, they were able to beat Tony Dungy's Buccaneers defense by what was that score? 13-10. They had to play a low-scoring game. They had to beat them. Even the Super Bowl against the Titans, when Mike Martz was the head coach, Bill Belichick figured out a way to beat him, even though he had an inferior team. So coaches like Steichen, it's not about yardage and all this other stuff. I don't get caught up in we got 33 points a game or we're the number one. It's about winning a championship. You have to learn how to win, other than what your strength is, the way you normally use.
I will say this though, Mike. This is still, and I know this is his third year, but he is still relatively new with this type of. He can actually do something more than one thing quarterback. Is that fair to say, too? I mean, I'm not trying to excuse anything, because I happen to think that adjustments may not be his forte. But with Daniel Jones, I don't think we've seen enough of those opportunities for adjustments. Thus, Mike, I thought yesterday was one of those, and that's why I highlighted what Quentin Nelson said after the game about this being a learning experience we have to learn from, because everything else has been a fastball so far. And now you do have to adjust, because you're going to see other teams that are going to see what Pittsburgh did and may not have even close to the same edge rushing potential and personnel, but are going to try to do similar things to rattle a quarterback that for 6 seasons they saw rattled in New York just like that.
Yep. Well, that's what you touched on. But are they going to learn the lessons? That's the key with Steichen. Is he going to change?
Yeah.
And also, we are up on about less than 24-hour maximum of the hold your breath deadline for you, me, and probably 99.9% of Colts fans.
Yes.
Here. And you know who's not holding their breath? Philadelphia Eagles fans, because in the last week, Howie Roseman made 2 deals for 2 corners and an edge rusher. So imagine that.
I know. Listen. The really good find a way, Mike. The really good find a way.
Listen, I know. I'm counting on. I think Abdallah's going to do it. Me, I know it's a fantasy football trade, and I would work out all the gymnastics of the cap situation. But I would call up the Raiders, and I would say 2 first-rounders, Anthony Richardson and A.D. Mitchell for Max Crosby, and let them tell me no. That's the way I would approach it. Let them tell, because they need a guy. You put Max Crosby on that defense right now. Forget about next year, the year after. He's still just make it happen. Restructure whoever contracts you have to restructure and get it done. Because the Raiders, if they're not going to take that deal, then fine. If you have to sweeten it, you throw in another pick, do that too. Because that's exactly what this team needs, a Max Crosby. You put him on that defense, that's a whole game changer. But we'll see. I'm holding my breath with you, JMV.
Mike in Brooklyn with the analysis on the Monday after. Mike, thank you, brother, for the call. We'll talk to you later on this week.
Yep, Jan. Thank you, JMV. Take care.
That's Mike right there. Twin Peaks, Greenwood, thank you all for joining us. Remember, we bail 30 minutes earlier because of Colts Roundtable and then Pacer Hoops after that. But Dick is on line 3 at 239-1070. Hello, Dick. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Is this JMV?
Is this Dick?
This is Dick Dullahan. Yes, sir.
I love it. Dick Dullahan is back on the show. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and give you the floor, Coach. I'm going to turn you loose right here. What do you got?
Well, the first thing I want to say is kudos to the entire staff at the Indiana Hoosiers, because what they have done and what they've done in this year and last year, of course, it is amazing that a young group of kids that are new to Indiana, most of them are new to Indiana, and my goodness gracious, I've never seen a team change so fast and so well in the 2 years that Cignetti has taken over. And I know that there's a lot of money involved, and they've done some things that they weren't willing or able to do with Tom Allen. But I will tell you this team, the evaluation of players that they have done, the people that they have brought in, they play with tremendous talent, enthusiasm, toughness. They are physically tough as nails. Defensively, I love the way they play. I see that Cignetti and his staff, that he's had a long time in the same place, they are tremendous at evaluation of talent. And they have taken some players and molded them into a team. And, of course, Mendoza is the straw that stirs the drink. The guy is amazing. And accuracy in throwing the football is the name of the game on the offensive side of the ball. And I have seen tremendous play out of this football team, and rightly so. Indiana University deserves to have a group of guys that play the way they play, and it's fun for Indiana. I mean, we're in a great time. The Indianapolis Colts are going to be okay. They're going to be okay. Don't get shook. They got their ass beat yesterday. I understand that it happened, and it's actually going to be a benefit in the long run. I really believe that. I think that the way that they have played up to now. Now, granted, Pittsburgh got us at the right time. We're sitting fat at 7-1, and they just rushed a passer like Jones has never seen. And securing the ball in the pocket is absolutely imperative in a player. And Jones will learn from this. He's a tremendous guy. He's got great accuracy. The receivers are playing their butts off. Yes, our offensive line got beat in that ball game. It was a sad state of affairs when the best running back statistically in the NFL cannot get more than 50 or 75 yards in a game. And I really think that even though it was a loss, it was a blessing because we'll get better. We will learn from that, and we will do a better job on the offensive line, giving Jones a little bit more. He'll have a little more time, and he will learn that he's got to recognize what's going on. It was really a tremendous win for Pittsburgh. I get that, but we were due for that to happen. Sometimes that's a blessing.
It's Dick Dullahan, the legend right there. A couple of things before, and I love the fact you're calling in, and I want you to call in all the time. Thank you very much for doing so. But you mentioned IU. Hey, Coach, this is the most physical I have ever seen in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line, in an IU football team ever. They've had some good individual guys there, but I've never seen collectively a more physical group and really a more physical team of IU football guys than what you witnessed this year.
I totally agree, and I'm telling you, defense wins championships. Offense is great. It wins games, but defense wins championships. And the Hoosiers are playing great defense right now. And believe me, those guys that are getting ready to play IU, they're shivering in their boots because it's going to be tough to move the football against the Indiana defense.
Yeah, it has been, and it will be. IU at Penn State. That is coming up on Saturday afternoon at noon in Happy Valley. How are you doing, Coach? Everything okay in your world?
I'm doing great. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and to talk to your people. You guys do a great job, and your show is excellent. I don't call very many radio programs ever, but I enjoy the way that you do things. And the honesty and integrity of the people that work with you, not only the Indiana team, but the Colts are a good football team. We got beat, but it might be the best thing that ever happened to us because we're going to get better, because we're going to realize where our weaknesses are, and the Colts are going to be fine. And I love listening to Matt Taylor on that daggone radio. I mean, he is so good, and they play hard, and they didn't quit at all when they could have quit, when they were getting handled up front. The offense and defensive line is where it's at. You have to be able to protect the passer, and Jones did not get the protection he was needed in that ball game yesterday. He just couldn't get enough time to really do his thing. And we couldn't run the ball. If you can't run the ball with Jonathan Taylor, I mean, I'm telling you, you got problems.
Dick Dullahan, the legend right there. Coach, you call anytime, and I would love to see you one of these days at a live show if you ever have the opportunity. But I cannot thank you enough for calling in. We love when you call.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, and I believe in the Colts, and I believe in the Hoosiers, and like I've never believed in anybody I can't fathom anything better. I mean, it's like the Fever, or they won, and the Pacers. I mean, Indiana is shining right now across the country, and it's wonderful.
Dick Dullahan, the legend, coach, you call anytime. You get right on because everybody loves when you come on like that. That's fantastic. Dick Dullahan right there with us here. We're live at Twin Peaks. We'll take a break and we'll come back. Coach, we'd love to see Coach out here at a live show one of these days. Twin Peaks and Greenwood's our location right now. I know I have a break, but I did want to mention this, James, before I hit this break. Shout out to Kurt Mallory and my alma mater, Indiana State University, upsetting fourth-ranked South Dakota State 24-12. I think that is the biggest win of Kurt's era. It is so necessary, but you know how much I love Indiana State and Terre Haute. And for that to take place on Saturday is so incredibly special for everybody involved. Shout out to Kurt and Indiana State. We are all sycamores with that win 24-12 over South Dakota State this past weekend. Quick break. We'll come back. We got more from Twin Peaks in Greenwood, too. We've got your calls. If you're on hold, stay there. If you're not, get there. We've got Miles Turner conversation also coming up. His return to Gainbridge Fieldhouse as a member of the Bucks coming up later on tonight at 7 o'clock. Stream the app, HD Radio, 317-239-1070. That is the text line and the number if you want to call in and get on the air. It's 93.5, 107.5, The Fan.
The Ride with JMV.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
It's just the media space, man. I feel like no matter what I say, you can kind of flip it to fit your own narrative in a sense. I feel like I've been nothing but complimentary, of this fan base, of my former teammates and just, my time here. You know what I mean? Obviously, being with the new team, moving forward, that's where I have to put my attention. And that's where, it was intended to be. So I think a lot of words and lines could have got misconstrued just from things I said.
Miles Turner earlier today, Bucks Pacers later on tonight, the return of Miles Turner to the field house. I've said this back since he left. And as a staunch defender over his career here, I think I feel comfortable in telling you I know what the hell I'm talking about. And had Miles just reached out to me and said, hey, how do you think I should handle this? Not to come across as if I am out at fans or my teammates. Because I'm sorry, there was no media twisting of it. The last person that wants to twist any of his words would be me. That's the last person. It was recognizable at times whether he erred in judgment, just said some things that maybe he didn't really mean. Went down a path he shouldn't have. Maybe got confused about what he was saying. He doesn't seem like a dude that gets confused. There were moments in his dialogue since he left for Milwaukee where it sounded as if, and I'll tell you this to be true, that he was calling out his former teammates as not being realistically competitive enough for him to stay. And then remarking about his time here. And granted, I would understand his time here because there are a lot of you out there that were complete jackasses to him. Complete, especially in social media. And you guys know who you are. If you're a jackass on social media, you probably wear that as a badge. But there are a lot of people that were jackasses to him. All you had to do is blame all of this on Kevin and Chad and Ted and Steve. You had to blame it on the organization and leave everybody else. I love my time here, but you know what? When Tyrese Halliburton at the 7-minute mark of the first quarter of Game 7 of the NBA Finals got injured, they changed their route. And that changed everything for me. And then Milwaukee went out and did what they did with Damian Lillard and created some money. And what they did is they felt the need to bring me in. They prioritized me. And remember, by the way, in the past, DeAndre Ayton offer sheet, all these trade rumors, all that stuff over the years, everybody around here would understand. So there was no, at least from you know me, there was no media twisting from me. And all he had to do was ask me, and I would say, hey, here's what you do. Say how much I love it here, and I love the entire time. I love to be here, but they gave me an offer I could not refuse. And it appears that the Pacers were going a different direction monetarily with me and my priority after Halliburton got injured, and be done with it. But instead, it's like you have to. It's like you're on the internet here. Seriously, it's like you're on X, and you just are misinterpreted. You can't be misinterpreted because that's going to be out there forever. I hope he doesn't get booed later on tonight. But I'm a realist. He's going to get booed later on tonight. Hopefully the Pacers have a lengthy video of him because he was a part of a 7-game series, high-level team, and my favorite team of all time. And it sucks for me to have to say crap about him. And there is no twisting that up. That's the last thing I wanted to do. But that was just the truth. I hope everything turns out okay, but it just kind of seems like at times he said the wrong thing in the wrong moment, and maybe it did get misinterpreted. But you have to be clear, especially if you want to be celebrated on a night like tonight, and no boos and people not getting mad. Because when you leave for a division rival, you're going to get booed. People are going to be mad. People aren't going to understand. It's up to you to explain it to them. He did a good job of that today, but I mean, hell, this is early November. That was early July. Back to that coming up in a second. We're at Twin Peaks. We're on the south side in Greenwood off of County Line Road. I would advise you right now to head to the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live, because normally you see my face and you go, oh, yeah, this 55-year-old ugly-ass dude, there he is. But we have Haley. Haley from Southern Indiana is here. She is one of the Twin Peaks girls that will be serving you, not just right now, but coming up on Sunday as well when the Colts play in Germany. You guys are going to be open, aren't you?
Absolutely. It's always Beer 30 at Twin Peaks, but especially this Sunday because we will be opening early for the Colts game. We will be open at 9:30 a.m. So that's right. Yes, Beer 30 is at 9:30 a.m. this Sunday. Our beers that are on special for this Sunday will be Miller Lite and Coors Light for $4.50.
I love it. That's always Beer 30 for me right here.
Absolutely.
Could you tell during the show? I think it's always Beer 30. Destiny's over there going, yeah, it is Beer 30. I've been around with JMV enough to know here, Beer 30 for him. Now, so you guys are going to open up coming up on Sunday too. And I should say this, that you're from Southern Indiana. And I'm a big fan of the Pocket City, Evansville. Now, you're not from Vanderburgh County, but you went to the glorious high school called North Posey. I don't think we've ever had anybody on the show from Posey County. Well done.
I'm glad I could be the first.
Posey County in the house. Now, is it New Harmony in Posey County? Is that where is like the one of the older, I think, towns in the state of Indiana right there?
Yes, New Harmony was supposed to be a utopian society, but it eventually did not work out. It did fail, but there is a lot of beauty in New Harmony. It's a very artistic area.
It is. It is, too. I think it's got like 2-lane bridge over the Wabash right there, too, does it not? Did it get into Illinois or close to Illinois?
You used to be able to, but they did close that down a few years ago, unfortunately.
Well, I've got to get back down there. I haven't been down there in forever. I always thought you were in a spot where you can get to Paducah and you could go to Branson, Missouri, or you could go to a lot of places that the rest of Indiana can't very quick, can't you?
Yes, that's very true. I was very close to Illinois, very close to Kentucky, very close to Missouri. I actually got this ring at the festival in New Harmony called Kunstfest. It's a German arts festival.
Really now?
Yes, this actually came from that festival.
That's a hell of a ring right there you got.
Yes.
So I want people to ask for Haley when you come to Twin Peaks in Greenwood, right? So I know you got to bail right now, but you're going to be back later on this week and then coming up Sunday morning too.
Absolutely.
And just ask for Haley from North Posey High School.
Yes.
and Haley will take care of it. Thanks, Haley.
Thank you very much.
Haley has been awesome. That's the AAA Membership Lounge via YouTube Live. And hey, look at Paul, the standing O from Paul and Ethan right there. Now, I'm going to go ahead and join in right there. Quick break. We'll come back. My thoughts on Miles. I know you guys are on hold. We have plenty of time to get to your calls because it's nothing but you and I until 5:30. Twin Peaks, County Line Road, Greenwood on a Monday. Colts reflection, IU football, college basketball back on tap, and the return of Miles Turner for the Pacers are against the Pacers for the Bucks later on tonight as well. The Stream the App, HD Radio, the AAA Membership Lounge with Haley and I via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Win Schuler's spreadability. Not too far. You can find it at this Gordon Food Service, 31 Greenwood. Got a new sign out front, too. Now, I will say this. Last Tuesday, I was with my friends up at Goodwill in Carmel. And right next door to the Keystone Way Goodwill location, there was a Neiman's Harvest Market. It had absolutely everything. The elusive jalapeno pepper was available for you, too. You've got the varieties of Win Schuler's, the spreadability for you for the football season and the fall of 2025. Find it at Meyer Gordon's Food Service and Neiman's Harvest Market. And if you do see it, snap a photo so we can get back on board and tell everybody where you can find the spreadability of Win Schuler's. We are at Twin Peaks. We are in Greenwood off of County Line Road. Thank you all for joining us. Man, a shout out to Stephen Holder, Dick Dullahan, and then Haley just joined us here. Twin Peaks, too. Busy week for you. We've got 2 more shows on the road coming up on Thursday and Friday. Thursday, we're at the Bulldog, Larceny Bourbon Locks, and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. I was just going over my picks from the weekend. I don't know about that. That's coming up on Thursday with week number 10. That's at the Bulldog, Broad Ripple. Cannot wait to see you there. And back here at Twin Peaks on Friday, on a Bud Light Blue Friday, with Colts tickets to give away. Speaking of ticket giveaways, OAR, that's one of Chris Denary, the voice of the Pacers' favorite bands. September the 3rd of 2026. We're starting to see a lot of these concert dates fall into place here. September the 3rd, 2026, Everwise Amphitheater, White River State Park. OAR tickets. That's to number 9 at 239-1070 right now. OAR. More for you coming up later on this week. Steelers 27-20 over the Colts. The Colts turn it over 6 times. Not as much as they did in 07 in that game, that loss, which was very memorable for really a lot of the wrong reasons during the Manning era in 07 against the Chargers. Colts now 7-2. They get Atlanta. Atlanta coming off a loss in Foxborough yesterday, but they did come back. They lose to the Patriots. You get the Falcons and the Colts coming up on Sunday morning. Twin Peaks will be open for you to watch and enjoy with the ice-cold beer and all the scratch food that you love coming up on Sunday morning here with the Falcons and the Colts. Colts pregame huddle, by the way, Sunday morning for me starts at 6:30 in the morning. 6:30 in the a.m. for you. 239-1070 is that number. Your response and more to the Colts loss yesterday, to the IU win Sunday, and Miles Turner's return as a member of the Bucs coming up later on tonight. That tip time is at 7 o'clock. Derek is up next at 239-1070. Hello, Derek. How are you?
Derek?
Hello, Derek.
It's Jay.
Hello, Jay. How are you, Jay?
I'm great. I wanted to thank you because I won tickets from you guys at Gigi's, and we had a great time at the Titans game about a week ago.
Hell yes, you did. I'm glad you did. That's Jay from the North Side's voice right there, I gather.
And I saw 3 Colts fans get into it with one Colts fan, and the one Colts fan was pushing 2 of the 3 Colts fans, and they called security, and he was wearing an Andrew Luck jersey. So I said, not only quit the team, he quit the fight.
Well, you sound like a tattletale, Jay. What are you doing? You can't be ratting out everybody. Come on, buddy.
No, I wasn't. We were just watching it.
I'm just joking. I know. I'm just joking. You're an innocent bystander, Jay.
I don't think Chris Ballard's going to make a move to get somebody like Max Crosby. In fact, he's probably too stubborn and pig-headed to make any move at all, probably.
Well, Max Crosby's not going. Max Crosby's not going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere.
And I listen. They need it. And I thought even with the defense, and everybody kind of props it up today with that loss yesterday because the offense was so bad, but the defense still needs it. And I think you can get away, Jay, right now with looking at somebody with the edge right, because normally you don't get edge rushers of any level available right now, but you do, and you get Jalen Jones back. Mooney Ward at some point is going to be back as well. So I think you're going to be covered in the secondary. You need somebody more legit to help out Buckner and Latu up front here. So to me, he has to do something, and we'll find out by tomorrow here in the 4 o'clock hour whether or not he does.
And I also thought when Pittsburgh blitzed in the second half, Daniel Jones started to get nervous and jittery, and his footwork wasn't that great. And Ryman kept messing up too, Bernhard Ryman.
Well, he and Braden Smith did not have banner afternoons in Pittsburgh, Jay, to say the least. No doubt about that. Jay, thank you for the call. I'm glad you enjoyed the Tennessee game.
I'll try to see you at the Bulldog on Thursday. Take care.
Bulldog on Thursday with Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna's Old Tequila Shots. I believe the Houston game will be the tickets we have here because we're right back here in Greenwood at Twin Peaks coming up on Friday on a Bud Light Blue Friday. Quick break. We'll come back. Got a lot more for you. And the Miles stuff, we'll get back into that too. The Colts loss and the IU win. Devin Mockabee calls it a career in West Lafayette. We talked about that. What has been a fantastic show. County Line Road in Greenwood. Twin Peaks is our location. Do not go anywhere. The stream, the app, HD Radio, AAA, Membership Lounge via YouTube Live at 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.
With JMV.
Are you kidding? You think I'd join this crummy snobatorium? But this whole place sucks. That's right, it sucks.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Second down and goal at the 4-yard line. Ball in the left hash. Jones out of the gun. 2 receivers both ways. Now Jonathan Taylor started the motion out. Now he's going to come back into the backfield. Shotgun snap for Jones. Looks, throws, right side, end zone, caught. Josh Downs, touchdown. And he threw it over the head of one of the Steelers to get it in. Beautiful ball placement there by Daniel Jones, throwing it over the head of Brandon Eccles into the possession of Josh Downs for the touchdown. It's now 27-16 with the extra point to come with 4:30 to go in the game.
Matt Taylor, voice of the Colts right there. Colts lose 27-20 yesterday, 7-2 on the season on the road in Berlin coming up on Sunday. The Berlin game with the Falcons. Oh, we've talked about that throughout the course of the afternoon. If you guys are watching on the AAA Membership Lounge, you see the fat me right here. That's great. Look at that. Hey, James, is that coming through loud and clear?
Oh, yeah, you can
right
see
there?
that.
Look at that. Good Lord Almighty. Well, they brought that thing out this past Thursday. Hey, we're at Twin Peaks. We're in Greenwood off of County Line Road. Thank you all for joining us on a Monday. And I know that you would rather celebrate a Colts win, but we still get the opportunity to hang together, have the great ice-cold beers here, great food that they have, and get you set for a little NBA later on tonight. The return of Miles Turner, Bucks and Pacers. You can watch that here. Monday Night Football, Cardinals and Cowboys. You can watch that here and know that the game in Berlin next Sunday, they're going to open their doors early for you. So this is the place to be. And by the way, we're going to be back here coming up on Friday, Bud Light Blue Friday, with Texans Colts tickets to give away with our friends from Zinc. We'll be back here at Twin Peaks in Greenwood off of County Line Road, again, coming up on Friday. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. So we have Colts Roundtable, bottom of the hour, and then we have Pacer pregame after that. So we got to hustle through some calls. I know I owe, in this case, a lot of you some calls at 239-1070 right here, 317-239-1070. That is the text line, too. I should also mention the Bulldog in Broad Ripple is our location. Larceny Bourbon Locks and Luna Azul Tequila Shots. That is coming up on Thursday. Anybody know this to be true? So right now, and I say I struggle through having DirecTV, but I still have the full court package, and I'm still getting it. Am I going to get that the entire year, or is this an extended tease for me right here? Does anybody know? Because I think as much as I paid over the past 25 years, at the very least they owe me free viewing. But does anybody know that? I know normally they give you a 7-day experience and then they'll pull the plug if you don't pay for it. Just out of curiosity, because I was watching last night, I was watching the Lakers and the Heat and the Suns and the Spurs, and I thought, why am I still getting this? Because I don't pay for it, and I really like not to pay for it. Just out of curiosity, Bucks Pacers right here on the Fan coming up later on tonight. Leon is at 239-1070 to start the 5 o'clock hour. Hello, Leon. How are you?
I'm doing good. How you doing, JMV?
Outstanding, Leon. What do you got?
Yeah, I just want to say that as far as I'm concerned, Miles Turner deserves nothing but the utmost respect from this city for what he's done. He has been nothing but a class act the entire time he was here for the organization, for the community, and the Pacers don't even sniff the NBA Finals last season without his contribution. He did not say anything bad about the Pacer organization or any players on there. That was just stuff people construed. When Milwaukee and the Pacers were not the only teams negotiating for him last year, there were several other teams that were trying to get him. And when he was referencing about why he chose the Bucks, he was referencing about all of those teams that had been talking with his agents. But irregardless, that man has been nothing but a class act when most of the time, ever since his second season here, he's faced a lot of vitriol locally, but never, ever responded negatively to it. And I think he deserves better than what he's been receiving.
Well, I do think he deserves credit, but for being a part of the most special team that I can remember around here, especially with the Pacers, too. If he could walk it back, he needed to be more clear on a lot of things. And I will say this, Leon, all he really had to say was, you know what? They didn't want me anymore. When Halliburton got injured, it was clear that they didn't want me, and Milwaukee wanted me more, and I had to make a business decision. And, Leon, if you just put it, I think, that quickly in that 10-second window, most people understand that. At least most rational people understand that. But it was always, you always had to try to interpret what he was saying and what he meant by things, and that can't happen because people are going to take that in different directions.
Well, I think he was just really trying to ingratiate himself to the Milwaukee fan base because he had just agreed to go there. And but he certainly he weren't throwing any darts at the Pacer organization. That's clear. That was just something that people misconstrued from his comments.
Let me tell you this, Leon. When he first left and he said, I'm going to go someplace because I want to remain competitive. That's not a good sound. That's not a good quote. All right, it is, hey, I love my guys here, but this team wanted me more financially. You know, they did all this work with Damian Lillard and other means to bring me in. And they wanted me. They wanted me more than the Pacers. That's what you say. Right. You don't say, I want to go someplace else because they still want to be competitive, because that sounds like you're taking a shot at your former team. Even if you're not, that's the way that it sounds.
Well, okay. We're going to have to agree to disagree on that one.
No, and that's okay. There's been hey, listen, Leon, there's been no bigger defender of Miles in his 10 years here than me. No bigger defender, but I can't even recognize that.
I've listened to you that entire time, and yes, if there was one bigger defender, it may be me. But yes, I've listened to you the entire time. But the other thing I want to say is that what we saw Sunday was the New York Daniel Jones. Send him back to New York and don't let him come back to Indy, and let's keep the Indiana Jones here. But I agree with Mike from Brooklyn. Mike from Brooklyn was correct. That team was out-coached. That was the biggest difference in that game. And because of that, you saw Daniel Jones lose his confidence. And once he lost his confidence, the team lost his confidence. But I hope Ballard doesn't drink the fool's gold. That was the best game that our defensive ends have had this season. But it was against a guy that's a statue as a quarterback and a weak offensive line. We cannot reach the Super Bowl if we don't make a change on those defensive ends.
Leon, thank you for the call. I completely agree. You got to get some help. And don't let yesterday fool you when everybody says, well, hey, the defense played really well. Stephen Holder told us earlier that he felt, from what he had heard, that the Colts were focused in on bringing in cornerback help. The Colts got cornerback help yesterday from Jalen Jones and his return from injury. They're going to get more secondary help when Charvarius Ward returns. Let's focus in on somebody else that can give you more of a consistent brand of edge pressure than what you're getting right now. And not just inventing it in certain or special situations. As Rick Venturi says, the first wave. A first wave type of guy. The availability is there. 317-239-1070 is the text line. JMV, when you left that other place and came to this place, did the old place celebrate you? I didn't think so. Beach Grove Dave. Well, they should have. Yeah. Here's the problem. They, at some point, the other place, Dave, they were going to – listen, all I had to see at the other place is how they treated my hero in this market, Jimmy Mad Dog Matus, and I didn't want any part of that crap. So, yeah, that's all I had to see. So it was a little bit different than that, but that did make me laugh, Dave. Thank you. That was pretty funny. That's all I had to see was that. I go, okay, yeah, this is good. I better move on right here. And I'm sure Jake and Derek could tell you the same thing with that in mind. Jim is up next at 239-1070. We're live at Twin Peaks on a Monday. Jim, hello.
I'm great, JMV. How are you?
Hello, Jim. I'm fantastic. Thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Hey, a shout out to the great staff at Twin Peaks Greenwood.
Indeed, they are special people here, Jim. No doubt.
So I was wondering, because I was there watching the game yesterday. It was great, and I was wondering, are they going to have like a breakfast menu for the game since it's early? Like something that's easy for the staff, like biscuits and gravy.
Hey, Jim, hold on 1 second. Hey, Haley, will you guys have a special breakfast menu for the game on Sunday morning? She's going to ask for you right there. Jim, she's asking. Haley is going and asking her bosses right now if that's true. Yeah. I'll let you know before the end of your call.
Okay, and I appreciate that. I know with your ways you can make something happen. So
I can. I mean, if you need bacon or eggs or omelets or pancakes or waffles, I'm your guy. Even though I haven't eaten them in like a year and a half. Yeah.
Biscuits and gravy, hash browns, all the good stuff that is poor diet people eat. And they need some cottage cheese in case you want to come by.
That's me. I'm so sad. I was thinking about my diet the other day.
You're wonderful, dude. You're wonderful.
I am sad with the cottage. Like, I was such a biscuits and gravy guy for breakfast. And, I can't see myself. I don't know if I'll ever eat that again. Isn't that sad? It makes me sad.
Well, never say never, but it's not, at least not often, so. Hey, on the Miles situation.
Hey, Jim, hold on 1 second. We have an answer for you really quick. Haley, what do you got? Yep. Okay, so there's no special breakfast menu, but Haley suggests you order the hangover burger that they're going to be serving here coming up on Sunday. Okay? The hangover burger. Thank you, Haley.
I appreciate that, Haley.
You got Haley's on top of it for you. Yes.
I've always been a Miles fan. I would agree with you. I thought he, was underappreciated here, but to throw your own teammates kind of under the bus, I kind of lost him on that. That was kind of my take on it, and I hate to see it. I just think it makes him look a little small. I wasn't a fan of his statements he's made recently.
Jim, he was pissy. He's mad at Pritchard and at Buchanan and at Wu and at Steve. He's mad at the organization and ownership. He's not mad at the fans nor his former players. But sometimes he did not explain himself. And this is not a case where the media is just twisting it into something where they want to talk about it. He was not clear enough in what he said, and he needed to be more clear. But I'm here to tell you that he was mad. He has been mad because the organization did not value him like they said they were gonna after Tyrese Halliburton got injured in that first quarter of Game 7 in OKC back in June. And then Milwaukee decided that they valued him, and that's why he's going to be playing in a Bucks uniform later on tonight. That's it.
And I cannot blame him for those feelings, but to me, the way he handled it with, maybe intentionally or not, but it was distributed, it looked like he was throwing his teammates kind of under the bus a little bit.
I would agree. I completely agree. Jim, I agree with you. And all he had to do was ask me. And that's all you have to do is say, you know what, these guys just decided they didn't want me as much as they wanted. And they're going to go a different direction, and I'm going to go a different direction. That's all you had to say. But, yeah, I completely agree. I mean, when you leave it up for a different interpretation than what you mean, then you know what? That's probably what you're going to get most of the time, and that's what he ended up getting here.
Bad things happen when you do that.
They do, buddy. Jim, anything else?
That's it, bud.
Jim, thank you for the call. Bill is up next at 239-1070. We're live at Twin Peaks in Greenwood. Bill, hello.
JMV, I'm visualizing what you're visualizing, and I'm envious. But
well, I'm looking at Paul Montgomery right now, so it's probably not the same thing.
I retract that last statement.
No, what? Well, wait a minute. Now Haley's back, so that's much better. Go ahead. All right, Bill, go ahead.
There we go. I just wanted to say something about IU football. The fact that, and I think the running game has been good all year, but the running game just really stood out against Maryland. And I don't know. It's going to be very, very tough for somebody to come back and beat this team. It's going to be a situation where I'm anxious to see at Penn State this weekend if they have any kind of letdown or anything like that. But the fact that Mendoza is playing the way that he is, and I can't just say Mendoza. I got to say Fernando, because Alberto Mendoza looks like he's got the potential to be just as good or even better.
Hey, so Billy, I want to remark about Penn State. Penn State had a really good half in Columbus. The second half, the Buckeyes flexed. Does that concern IU fans at all? Because Penn State looked beyond legit in that first half and then kind of fell apart in the second. Is that a concern for IU going on the road? Because, I mean, regardless of the season and the changeover of coach and all that Penn State's having, that is still a difficult environment to win in, especially, I mean, this IU is still very new and fresh with this experience. Does that concern you?
No, because I think that they've got enough seasoned guys on the team, and I totally believe in Mendoza, Fernando, and Alberto for that matter. But I think that this team is just going to be extremely tough to beat. And even when Surratt went out over this past weekend, there are still other people that he can throw the ball to. And the emergence of the tight end for IU was impressive to see as well. But
I definitely want Surratt to be there. I know Surratt's been dealing with that. I know Kurt Cignetti said earlier today that Surratt's been dealing with that, Bill, for a couple of weeks, and hopefully he's able to play coming up on Saturday. I know Evans is going to be out. He ruled him out, but thinks Aiden Fisher, the linebacker, is making progress. So hopefully you're going to get two of the three in those I just described, because I can't get past how Penn State still looked in that first half, and the fact that it's going to be at home and you got the number 2 team in your building trying to make a mark right here. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult than just what people may suggest it to be on Saturday.
It's going to be just like I said, the environment is unlike no other, really. I mean, it's a tremendous environment for the home team, but IU comes out on top, have a balanced game. And I'm going to fall off here, but I just wanted to say, historically, on this date in 1998, Lou Piniella replaced Pete Rose after he was banned from baseball as the Reds manager. That's how long ago that happened.
1988, did you say? You said 98, I
98.
think. 88. Yeah, 88. 88.
So just a very, very sad time and everything.
Well, hey, Bill, it's funny, and I know that the Dodgers won, and everybody looks at the Dodgers as evil because how much money they have and how unfair it is. But what you witnessed in the 7-game World Series, one of the highest competitive, more compelling World Series we have seen. And, it will bum you out. Like, here's what I think about, Billy, and I know you're a baseball historian like me. I think about Don Mattingly as a bench coach of the Blue Jays, trying to break through for the first time and, 2 outs away from that and losing in the fashion in which they did. But you talk about a compelling World Series in playmaking, and not one team just kind of giving it to the other, but playmaking with offense, with defense. You saw a little bit of it all in that 7-game series, and that's exactly what baseball needs.
It definitely was a shot in the arm, and that one play that the outfielder for the Dodgers made, where I think it was the center fielder or the left fielder, kind of ran into each other.
It's Pages.
Yeah, and he was still able to hold on to the ball. So tip the hat to the Dodgers. I don't care how much money they got and how much money they spend. I just want to see baseball played like that.
Here's what's funny. The one I dislike the most is probably paid the least, and that's Kiki Hernandez. I don't like him at all. But I just thought it was a very compelling World Series, and that's what baseball really needs. It was a fun watch, and I know a lot of people, the Dodgers, back-to-back now are, kind of the evil empire of Major League Baseball, but it was fun to watch, and, they made plays both offensively and defensively, and you think about Shohei Ohtani, who had the most memorable moments we have ever seen, but some of the other moments were somewhat forgettable for a guy of his stature. And it was other guys that picked up the Dodgers, from Will Smith to Pages to Rojas. It was other dudes that kind of picked up this team, and not even so much Ohtani in the form in which you think.
Not that I don't know if they've voted on this or not yet, but Executive of the Year from Major League Baseball, Magic Johnson.
Quote of the year. I think it was quote of the year. Before they go back to Toronto, he talked about how pivotal. I think he was talking about how pivotal Game 5 was or something. Everybody made fun of that. So I really enjoyed it, and that's all you can ask as a baseball fan, is to really enjoy it. And it was compelling, dramatic, and all that you hope for. Billy, man, I hope I see you later on this week. The Bulldog, and then back here in Greenwood at Twin Peaks on Friday. Okay, buddy?
The Bulldog on a Thursday. Man, that brings back some memories.
Yes, it does, man. Billy, thank you for the call. Wenschuler Spreadability for 2025. Got you covered. Original sharp cheddar, bacon and cheddar, jalapeno pepper. Wenschuler's, Gordon Food Service, Meyer locations, Neiman Harvest Market. You can find it there. Dev, great job out of you, pal. Thank you very much. Destiny and Ethan, outstanding from you. My man Paul over there. He may not be in a Twin Peaks girl outfit, but Paul is looking fantastic right now. But, hey, Larceny Bourbon Locks, Linda's Old Tequila Shots shirt, too. Bulldog coming up on Thursday. All right, we got Colts Roundtable coming up next. After that, it is the return of Miles Turner. Bucks and Pacers. Pacer pregame right here on The Fan. James, great job. We got a busy week for you. I cannot wait to enjoy it with you. Thanks for hanging out. Twin Peaks and Greenwood on this Monday. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Enjoy.